Okay, so what I thought I would show you today is how to create a Google form. Google Forms are a fabulous tool to collect information via a form and then be able to aggregate that data in a Google Sheet. So you can see up here in the right hand corner, I'm already logged in to my Google account. And so once I'm logged in, then I am able to get this little icon that allows me to go to my Google Drive. So I go to the Google Apps and I click on Drive. And in my Google Drive, you're going to see just a whole bunch of different folders that I have created because I use Google Drive quite a bit. And I've got a Synogens folder here, so I'm just going to open up that folder. And this is where I'm actually going to put my form, where I'm going to save my form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to go over to Google Forms. Now Google Forms allows you to create a form that then your customer can enter information into. So you could create a form for orders. You could create a form for your holiday wish list, which is what we're going to do today. You could create a form for your customers to fill out their preferences around purchasing, all kinds of different things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a title. So I'm just going to call this the holiday wish list. And here I could enter a description. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to, but I certainly could do that. The other thing that I can then start to do is I can start putting in my fields. So I can click on this first field and I want the customer to enter their name. And notice it switched for me from multiple choice to short answer. It sort of reads what I've typed and has some smart things in here and smart populating, and it turns it to short answer. If I didn't want a short answer, I could choose paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, drop down, do a drop down box, grid, date, time, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to leave that as short answer. And then I'm going to add I'm going to add a text section. And I'm going to call this text section your wish list. And then I'm going to give a description here. So this is just adding a little bit of a section header, if you will. And I'm just going to, with a description, and I'm just going to say, enter the items that you would like to add to your holiday wish list. And then I want to add a question, or at least a prompter. So I'm going to go ahead and enter, and you could, and I should stop. You could enter or set this up however you like. So you could actually, you could put in products, the word products, and then you could list all of the products, and you could turn it into a checkbox so they would check the different items. The problem that I see with that is then they can't enter the lip sense colors. So I want them to be able to not only say, yes, I want lip sense, but I also want these items or these colors. So I'm going to actually do, I'm just going to type, oops, lip sense. Enter the colors below. And again, I'm going to do a paragraph as opposed to a short answer. Short answer is only going to give them a limited number of characters, and we know that everyone loves lip sense, so they're going to want to type a ton of different colors. So we're going to change this to paragraph, so it's a long text answer. A couple, you know what, I need to go back up and show you something real quick. So on your name, a couple things, I could add a picture. I didn't point that out. I also didn't point out that I could make that required, and I do want to make their name required. On the lip sense, enter the colors below, I don't want to make that required because they might not want lip sense, they might want something else. So I'm going to leave that as not required. And you'll notice when I turned it to required, it gets a little star next to it. Then, excuse me, I'm going to put in here shadow sense. And again, I'm just going to say enter the colors below. And again, I'm going to leave that as a long text, long answer text. And I can continue to add my options here. So I could put in here skincare. And maybe in this case, I want to do, maybe I want to put in parentheses, cleanser and moist, oh, I can't spell that, moisturizer. And then maybe here, instead, I want to do dry and maybe normal to oily. And then they would just select one or the other of those. So I can continue to put that in. So then the next section that I need is I really need to get the information of who I should follow up with if these are the items that they want. So I'm going to go ahead and say, who should we follow up with regarding your wish list? And I'm not going to put a description, and I'm going to add in here my first question. So in this case, we're going to say purchaser's name. Again, I'm going to have that as a short answer text. I am going to make it required. Then I'm going to ask for their phone number. Oops. Sorry, can't type. Including area code. And then you can choose to make this required or not. You know, you might have customers maybe who want to give the phone number but not the email, or vice versa. So you can just make that choice. I'm going to go ahead and make it required. And then email address. And I can allow them to enter that. So the other option, I guess, if you don't want to make it required from a business perspective, you could also add something here. Who should we follow up with regarding your wish list? You could rephrase this and actually say, should we follow up with someone regarding your wish list? Because maybe they just want to print it and give it to them or something. So once you have all that information, you sort of make those business decisions of what you want to capture. And then what I can do is I can customize this a little bit so that I can make it a little more holiday-ish. So I can go ahead and I can click on my color palette, and I can click on the red to make it red. I can also add a graphic. So if I have a graphic available, I can either find a graphic that's already here, and these are sort of my choices. They're a tad limited. I do know that you need a graphic that's 800 by 200 pixels, so you can also upload your photo. So you could go find a photo on your computer. I actually have this holiday list. I'll show you this one. I have this holiday wish list graphic, but it's actually too big. So if I try and insert it, I don't think it will. Yeah, it needs to be 800 by 200 and it's too large right now. So I need to go edit that graphic before I can bring it in. So for now, I'm just going to choose one because I can always change it. So let's just go ahead and do, they don't even have any really holiday-ish ones. So let's just do this sort of festive one. And you can see what that looks like. Okay, now what I can do is I can preview my form, and I can actually copy this and link, and I can go put this in on my Facebook group, and I can advertise that. The other thing that I can do, so let's just pretend I put this on my Facebook group and then somebody clicks this link. So watch. Let's just say that they click this link. I'm going to paste it and they come to my form and they say, oh great, I'm going to fill out my holiday wish list. So they're going to put in customer name here, and they're going to list all the colors they want. And anything else, they're going to say they have dry skin, so they want the cleanser and the moisturizer in dry. And then they're going to put the purchaser's name. And then they're going to put their phone number. and then they're going to put in their email address. I shouldn't really put mine. Hold on. We'll just pretend. dan@myemail.com. Okay, so then when they're done, they fill out their wish list and then they submit it. And here's what happens. It then arrives to you. That form arrives to you, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to close these so that you can see this. So I have this untitled form. I really should give it a title. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So that's the form I just created, and if I double click on it from my drive, I can come back in and I can see it, and let's give this guy a form name. It automatically pulls whatever in this top line, but you could certainly change it. And I have another tab over here, and look, I've got a response. So I can click on the response and I can see the response in a summary format. I personally don't like this format. This is fairly new, and I'd say in about the last 6 months or so. I like the Google spreadsheet because I'm old school. So I'm going to do a spreadsheet, and it says create a new spreadsheet, and I say I can change the name here, but I'm going to say create because I want to keep that name. And now look what happened. If I click over on this tab, I now have a holiday wish list, and that's the form. That's the little purple icon. And now I've got responses, which opened here as well. So now I can see my customer name, what they wanted, their dry skin, anything on their wish list, and I've got a phone number, and I can follow up with Dan. And so I can even add, this is a Google Sheet, so it's kind of like Excel, but I could add my own column too. I could say my notes, and when I follow up with Dan, I could put a note in there that I followed up with him on, November 22nd, and then I can make sure that I'm tracking sort of how I followed up with him and get his order. So that's really all there is to it. A couple of things about Google Drive and Google Sheets and Google Forms. You'll notice that there's no save button. Okay, so it automatically and dynamically is saving. So there's no save button, it's just automatically here, which is a little nerve-wracking for most of us because we're used to Microsoft and saving. The second thing is there's no save button here either. So a couple of the advanced features that you might want to add to your form if you choose. You can add a video. So if you want to create a video that says, hey, welcome to this holiday wish list, I'm glad you're here, you could add a video. You could also, if you are a little more advanced, you can use what's called a script editor, and this allows you to actually input JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, you can actually go in here and you can create like a print command so that your users could actually print this, and then they could go hand it to their purchaser, their friends or family or loved one. And so what I probably add to this, if I was going to add some script printing functionality, or you can also go to add-on and you can actually add a couple different bells and whistles here. If I was going to do that, I probably should also add my contact information somewhere. So you can always edit your form. So I can immediately go in here and I could say, okay, I'm going to add some text at the very bottom. And it added it at the top, but I'll show you how to move it. So I might say, contact me today to order. And then I might put, my information in here. So Danny Watkins. And then I might put my Synergence address, my website, maybe anything else I wanted to put in here, maybe my phone number. So, and then I want to actually move this. So you can hover your mouse over these 6 dots and you can just actually click and drag this guy down all the way to the bottom and drop it into your form. And again, the link doesn't change when you view your form, it just updates it and adds a little bit of information down there. So that is all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward. Now I can go back. I can see my form here at any time. I can see my responses at any time. The last thing that I probably should share with you is, let's say that you create one of these and your buddy or friend or team member says, oh, will you share that with me? What you can do is you can right click on it and you can share. And when you share, you can send them this direct link. So you just copy and paste that. Or you can actually add their Gmail or email address. So you can add their email address and you can either give them edit or view. So what I do is I might share this with someone and enter their email address and then hit done, and they'll get an email saying, hey, this has been shared with you. If I do that, then what happens is they can actually click on this item and right click on it and they can say make a copy, and then they can make a copy for themselves, change the information, and they've got their own form. So you can share these pretty easily with others. Then what I do is I tell them, hey, go out and grab this, make a copy of it, and then I go back out here and I unshare it with them. So they can't make changes into the future. So I give them a day or two to go make changes, you know, to download a copy, and then I just right click on it, say share, and then I go to, if this was shared, there's a little advanced button and I can remove their access. So that's all there is to it. I hope you have a fun time making all of your Google Forms. Let me know if you have any questions.